This is the News 4 Rundown.
And welcome in on this Wednesday, March 11th. I'm Jim Hadley. Here is a look at some of the top stories we're following for you tonight. Coming up, a Maryland man tried to retrieve his stolen vehicle from D.C. police. Instead, he was taken into ICE custody. The growing concerns surrounding D.C. police cooperation with immigration officers. Plus, D.C. needs new fire trucks badly. And for $25 million, the fire chief thinks he has a solution. But how that came about is raising questions from some fire insiders. Ted Oberg and the News 4 I team are getting answers. Then it's officially a new league year in the NFL, and Burgundy and Gold already making some big moves. Who's coming, who's going, and who the Commanders still have their eyes on in free agency. But we want to begin tonight with the threat of severe storms leaving our region right now. We've already seen tornado warnings in a couple of counties tonight. Storm Team 4 meteorologist Amelia Draper is staying on top of all of this for us this evening. Amelia, can we expect to see any damage from this severe storm?
Well, unfortunately, Jim, I'm already getting some damage reports into our area. Parts of Montgomery County, Shenandoah County reporting some of the damage. These storms were nasty as they raced from west to east across our area. They continue to impact the Baltimore metro area right now. We still are under a tornado watch for the areas here in yellow, but I expect the National Weather Service to start to shave this off as I'm seeing the severe weather threat really start to diminish for areas west of I-95. That being said, Loudoun, Montgomery, Frederick counties and areas back to the west are under a tornado watch until 8 o'clock tonight, another 30 minutes. And then we have a severe thunderstorm watch now in effect for Prince George's, Anne Arundel counties and across the bay, all the areas here in pink. That's going to go later until 11 o'clock tonight. Talking about the damage reports across the area, you're going to see these in little dots here. Well, first I want to show you the latest watches and warnings across the area. So we do have a radar indicated tornado warning up around the Towson area, but we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect mainly for parts of Anne Arundel County here in our area, including Glen Burnie, Savage, Maryland, also in this severe thunderstorm watch. This is going to go until 8 o'clock tonight, so for another 28 minutes. Looking at the bigger picture, you can see heavy rain impacting Columbia, Baltimore, a lot of lightning within this, the potential for some small hail as well. Traveling along 95, the BW Parkway right now, it's an absolute mess. Looking at the bigger picture, now I'm showing you the storm reports right now. Some reports of damage, wind damage, mainly straight line wind damage, so not tornadic, but straight line wind damage into parts of upper Montgomery County, around the Damascus area, up into parts of eastern Frederick and Carroll counties, and then back around Winchester and back into parts of Shenandoah County. Regardless if it's straight line wind damage or tornadic damage in our area, Jim, we often see the same kind of impacts. We're getting reports of trees down, wires down where you're seeing these damage reports. Also, we have reports of like a roof blown off of a barn. Now, looking at tonight, well, the storms are moving out. So bottom line, we're going to be dry here for most of the evening hours. We're still mild. Temperatures this evening in the 70s. Tomorrow, how about rain, snow, wind chills in the 20s? That's after a record high today of 86. I'm having all the details on this wild weather coming up in my full forecast in a little bit.
Boy, you've been busy. All right, Amelia, thanks so much. We'll see you then. A Maryland man says D.C. police coordinated with immigration agents to lure him to a police station and take him into ICE custody. He says it happened after his car was stolen and an officer called him to pick it up. The incident is already the focus of an internal police investigation and a lawsuit. But tonight, News 4's Mark Seagraves has new details about what led federal agents to find the man and new court records that indicate it was a D.C. police officer who called him about his car.
It was late last year when 37-year-old Jose Argueta reported his car stolen to Montgomery County Police in Maryland. According to his attorney, Argueta received a call from D.C. Police saying they had recovered his car and that he could come pick it up at the 5th District Police Station in Northeast D.C. But when Argueta walked into the D.C. Police Station, his attorney tells News 4 he was placed in custody by ICE agents. The incident was first reported by the Washington Post.
It appears even more clear than before that there was impermissible sharing of information that we think is in violation of the Sanctuary Values Act, in addition to the fact that the arrest by ICE occurred at an MPD police station, literally inside of it, which is a separate violation of the Sanctuary Values Act.
Interim Police Chief Jeffrey Carroll declined to provide details about the incident when asked at a recent D.C. Council oversight hearing, saying it was still under internal review.
Obviously, it sounds not good, but we need to investigate that to find out what happened.
Law enforcement sources tell News4 the D.C. Office of Police Complaints is also investigating whether D.C. police lured Argueta to the police station so he could be detained by federal authorities. Court documents obtained by News4 shed some light on how federal agents became aware of Argueta. According to this police report and this charging document for the man charged with stealing Argueta's car, D.C. police from the 5th District, along with federal agents and U.S. Park Police, were patrolling as part of the federal task force in D.C. They spotted Argueta's stolen white Hyundai Sonata in the 900 block of Franklin Street Northeast. When they tried to stop the car, the suspect fled. Court documents say the suspect intentionally rammed one of the federal agents' vehicles, injuring several agents, including one who had to be transported to the hospital. The chase ended here in the 2700 block of 7th Street Northeast. The suspect ran and was apprehended in this alley behind the 600 block of Girard Street Northeast. According to the charging document, an MPD officer from the 5th District called Argueta to confirm it was his car. Rose tells News4 Argueta only received one call from police, and it was telling him to come get his car.
And then it sounds like the person who called him on Friday, December 5th, to say that his car was at the station was in fact a DC police officer. The officer listed in this report, he received one call. And that's when he went to the station. So it confirms that it was an MPD officer that called him to tell him to come to the station to collect his car.
D.C. police would not comment for our report, but a law enforcement source familiar with the internal investigation tells News4 they have not ruled out the likelihood it was an MPD officer who told Argueta to come to the station to retrieve his car. That source added it's also likely that after the federal agent was injured, federal agents were able to run the tag and determine the immigration status of the car's owner.
This is the ultimate embodiment of why policies limiting collaboration with ICE are so important, and how the trust of the community can be completely ruptured when those policies are violated. I mean, that is appalling.
Argueta was held for about a month before being released, but he is still facing removal proceedings. In the district, Mark Seagraves, News4.
Now, Argueta's attorney tells News4 he has not been contacted by D.C. police or the Office of Complaints for Police regarding their investigations, and he says he has still not recovered his car. The News4 Rundown will be right back after this short break, and here's a look at what we have coming up.
There is a massive backlog to get badly needed fire trucks here to D.C. and really every city across the country. The D.C. chief says he has a solution, but its price tag and connections to one of the D.C. Fire employees are raising questions. I'm Ted Oberg with the News4 I-Team. We're sitting down with the chief next.
And for the most part, I'm tracking tonight's severe thunderstorms moving east out of the area. We're going to go from a high temperature today around 85 to wind chills tomorrow in the 20s. Along with that comes some rain and wet snow showers. I'm tracking this dramatically changing forecast after the break.
All right, we've got more weather whiplash to come. It's the calm after the storm right now, but we got some cold after this storm.
Oh my gosh, so it was definitely summer like today, right? Record high of 86, severe thunderstorms this evening. Unfortunately, some wind damage. Not a lot, but there was some. And then tomorrow, wind chills in the 20s.
Crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get my winter jacket out to come in here tomorrow. And I don't want to do that.
No.
Jim, I cannot remember a time where we had such craziness. These big temperature swings, yes, but is that usually accompanied with severe thunderstorms and then wet snow? Not usually. Looking at your weather headlines, the severe thunderstorms are exiting our area off to the east. If you're in Prince George's, Anne Arundel County, still dealing with some rain. I'll point that out here on Storm Team 4 radar. Falling temperatures, that's up next. Early tomorrow morning between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. That's when we'll see the biggest temperature drop. With that, we have rain changing over to wet snow showers throughout the day. No snow accumulation. Surface temperatures are way too warm, but could you be noticing the sky kind of raining snow? Yeah, certainly. dry and pleasant for the weekend by March standards. I don't have any mid-80s, any record highs in the forecast anytime soon. Here's the latest right now on Storm Team 4 radar. You can see the severe weather now really around the Baltimore metro area. Some heavy rain just north of Annapolis as well. Still a few showers hanging on into parts of Prince George's County around Bowie, areas to the north, north of Annapolis as well. That tornado warning for the Townsend area has been canceled by the National Weather Service. Now looking back to the west, yeah, if you're north and west of the D.C. metro area, you might get clipped by a little bit more rain this evening, but that threat for severe weather really diminishing. But notice this shield of rain right here from Ohio down into Kentucky and Tennessee. This is the cold front that moves in early tomorrow morning. Chuck's updating the forecast, tracking the radar, Storm Team 4 radar at 6 a.m., tracking rain into parts of northern Virginia, western Maryland by 8 a.m. The morning commute well underway. It's a nasty morning commute tomorrow with rain, potentially already some wet snow showers indicated by the blue here. Notice 10 a.m. until noon. Look at the rain snow line over our area. Snow into parts of Montgomery, Loudoun, Fairfax counties. Again, this doesn't accumulate. Maybe on elevated surfaces we see a coating, but yeah, road temperatures way too warm for any accumulation. That being said, look at noon. If you didn't know the date tomorrow, you might think that this is like January, the future weather here, what it's putting out right now. So just incredible, the temperature changes that we're going from pool weather today to the fact that you could cobble together potentially a snowman tomorrow. Absolutely insane. Your forecast temperature wise, 52 at 8 a.m. by lunchtime, 42. By 4 o'clock, 39. You add in the winds tomorrow, gusting at 30, even 40 miles an hour. That puts wind chill temperatures in the 20s and 30s. I also want to point out here on the 4-day, notice 50 because that's early in the morning. But by the afternoon, we've dropped to 40. So typically our high temperatures in the afternoon, not the case tomorrow. We're going to stay in weather alert mode because of this extreme temperature drop, at least through the morning shows tomorrow. Make sure the kids have the jacket and the pants. As we look to Friday, it's breezy, a high temperature of 54. Shorts weather is over, maybe Sunday, but definitely long sleeves and pants weather these next few days. Saturday is breezy, a high of 58. 60 degrees on Sunday. We have more clouds on Sunday, maybe an isolated shower. And then, Jim, we're talking about Monday, a high of 65, some rain in the forecast. Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures start off in the 20s. Afternoon highs only in the low to mid 40s. So absolutely incredible. After 2 back-to-back days of record high temperatures, we have rain and wet snow tomorrow. And then we have temperatures next week that are running more than 10 degrees below normal.
All over the place.
It's March, and this has been a brutal winter, so at least we got to enjoy a little bit of warmth for the time being.
You said it. These few days were great. Go have a nice dinner, and we'll see you at 11. Amelia, thanks so much. New tonight, D.C.'s fire department wants to spend millions of your dollars on badly needed fire trucks, and they need them. It's one of the largest purchases ever for the department. Fire departments across the country are dealing with industry slowdowns to replace aging fleets. But D.C. fire insiders are raising questions now to the News 4 I-team and reporter Ted Oberg about how this deal came together.
Fire trucks take a beating in our town. According to a department report sent to the D.C. Council, 2/3 of trucks are at risk of failing this year, breaking down when you need them.
DC's really tough on fire trucks, and it's volume. More than anything else, it's call volume.
Your trucks are moving.
All day long.
There's no doubt DC needs some new equipment. This fire truck, it's 21 years old. Then this engine, 23 years old. It's practically an antique in DC. Both of them in the reserve fleet, but still in use because, as DC Fire told council members, fire engines and ladder trucks are down anywhere from 40 to 50% of the time for maintenance or repair. It's not a money issue to get these new trucks, it's an industry one. DC Fire Chief John Donnelly says he's got millions in the bank budgeted for new trucks, but DC's historic suppliers have been delayed and not able to keep up with demand.
I want fire trucks. I am agnostic on the manufacturer.
To solve the problem, DC Fire wants to move fast.
So there wasn't a bid in this process.
Instead, Donnelly says they used a different, still approved method and did what the chief calls market research, starting in 2024.
Did every company get the same chance to bid on the same number of things at the same time?
So no, not in a sense of sending it out.
Donnelly says that market research process included phone calls to manufacturers, but provided no more specifics to us. To buy 18 engines worth $25 million, DC is turning to Michigan-based HME, a manufacturer new to the city, but with past ties to the deputy chief in charge of getting new trucks, Michael Pecker.
He's in charge of our fleet. He's in charge, he oversees the purchasing of apparatus, the repair of apparatus, the assignment of apparatus, the maintenance of apparatus.
And who made the first call to HME in this market research process?
I believe he did.
Okay. And what is his relationship with HME?
So in the past, he has worked for HME.
Doing?
Sales.
So he was a salesman for this company?
Yes.
Pecker was employed for several years by Red Storm Fire, which is the sole dealer for HME fire trucks in the D.C. area. David Hoagland is the president of D.C.'s Firefighters Union, which works with the department to evaluate new equipment.
It's not uncommon for firefighters to have part-time jobs, right? But usually it's banging nails. Usually it's roofing, you're plowing roads, something like that, right? Not
His
just
second job was what?
Selling fire trucks to other fire departments. And now he's turning around and selling those same fire trucks to the department that he works for.
I didn't call him down to the office to say, hey, you need to do this or that or stop it. But I am sure that in passing we've had a conversation that said, you're not associated with HME anymore, right?
A firefighter since 2004, Pecker stopped selling HME trucks in 2022, according to his filing with the D.C. Board of Ethics and Government Accountability. Chief Donnelly says D.C. ethics officials said there was no conflict between his past job and this new contract, which is the largest fire department purchase in more than a decade, according to D.C. records. That ethics office wouldn't talk about it to the I-team, and our request to talk with Chief Pecker was denied.
I feel like our processes are strong, right? Yeah. And we have a strong set of ethics. We have a strong set of core values. If something goes wrong, I would absolutely deal with it.
Hoagland says he'd like to know more about what other departments using HME trucks say about how they hold up before such a large purchase is made here.
I think it's reasonable to give them a chance, but the size of the order is what's most concerning us, right?
HME lists dozens of sales to departments all over the country, but not many big cities aside from Cleveland and Detroit.
I've talked to the Detroit Fire Department. They have them. They're fine.
A deputy commissioner in Detroit told us the HME apparatus are holding up well and still being utilized on our front line. But the firefighters union there had different feelings. They're terrible, union official Jerry Stewart told us, complaining about the design and durability, claiming they haven't held up as well as some much older trucks still on the job. Closer to D.C., Howard County has an HME truck, but that department said they wouldn't talk to us about their equipment. The I-team did reach out to HME several times to ask about the D.C. contract, concerns raised about quality and durability and Chief Pecker's connection, but they didn't respond. Neither did Red Storm, that sole seller of HME trucks, which paid Pecker as a sales rep. On their website, HME says we prioritize product quality, performance on the fire ground, apparatus safety, and support after the sale.
They're built to our spec. They're built to the national standard. They're third-party tested to make sure that they're the ones we need. And for some reason, if they aren't, we'll cancel the order.
D.C. Council has the final say. They're expected to get the materials for the contract in just a few weeks. D.C. Fire told us it has contracts with 2 other companies to deliver a total of 16 pumper trucks by 2029. As for HME, Chief Donnelly said they were the only company that said they could deliver a truck within 12 months and then, as promised, one every month after that. And certainly, Jim, he's hoping that happens.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, a lot of questions.
Yeah.
See if council picks up on some of them and asks them themselves.
All right. We know there's a need. Thanks for covering this story and shedding a light on it, Ted. And we'll be right back on the Rundown. Stay with us. All right. The moves continue in the NFL as free agency revs up. The Commanders have been active today, very active. And our team insider, J.P. Finley, joins us in the studio with more on what the Burgundy and Gold are up to. Something for the offense, which was nice to see.
That's right, Jim. You know, the Commanders really have been active since Monday when the free agency period started. Today marked the new league year. Every business has a fiscal year. For the NFL, it was today. And so that means these deals can all become finalized, right. Contracts can get signed, things become official, and Washington has certainly been active. They've added 8 players via free agency. Now, 7 of them, to your point, Jim, have been on the defensive side of the football. And let's be real, Washington's defense was a problem. They needed a number of players on the defensive side of the ball. And let's start with this young man, K'Lavon Chaisson. This dude is a former first-round pick. Absolute freak athlete, a ton of speed, a ton of bend off the edge. He's coming off his best season this past year with the New England Patriots. There's a lot of excitement to get him in Washington, paired up with Odafe Oweh, who they signed earlier in the week away from the Chargers. Chaisson was really good on a really good football team. You hope he brings that same energy. And, you know, you learn a lot on a Super Bowl run. And that's where Chaisson's coming from, and you hope he can bring that knowledge base to Washington. Another really young athletic player. What about this guy? Local product, played his college ball at University of Maryland, Chig Okonkwo. This is a big pass-catching tight end for Jaden Daniels, a guy with real speed and a great ability to break tackles. Zach Ertz had been really good for Washington. He was a tactician when it came to running routes, but Ertz did not have the breakaway ability anymore at this stage of his career that Okonkwo has. I mean, look at that. Look at breaking that tackle right there, Jim. Yeah. That is really hard to do, especially for a man of his size. A lot of reasons to be excited about Okonkwo, especially in this new David Blau offense. But they weren't done. How about another local product, right? Yeah. We're going to Indianapolis. That is Nick Cross. Nick Cross, one of the fastest safeties in the NFL, and bang, those are his high school highlights from DeMatha Catholic. I mean, Nick Cross is a DeMatha kid, played his college football at the University of Maryland. He's a hard-hitting speedster that probably comes into Washington and steps into a starting role right away. Wow. Whether that's opposite Will Harris or Quan Martin, we'll see. A lot of reasons to be excited about Cross. Real speed. And whenever he talked about what the goals were for this offseason, Commanders general manager Adam Peters said, we got to get faster, we got to get stronger. All of the signings so far have great athleticism and are going to deliver on that promise of getting faster and getting stronger. If you're a Commanders fan, it's only been a few days so far, but you should be very encouraged, especially at the attention that's being paid to rebuild this defense, which frankly needed a thorough overhaul. Yeah. I mean, they've added 7 guys. Now, the defense is a little tricky. Not everybody's a pure starter, right? Because they rotate and they play so many different variations. But all 7 of these guys, I think, play a big role right away, and they should be able to really generate some pass rush. They've had to manufacture it. Now you can generate it. Leo Chenal's a linebacker they signed yesterday from Kansas City. High pedigree, high character, high athleticism. Good move so far for Washington.
So great to see the locals, too.
Oh, it's cool,
today,
right?
Coming back.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I was scrolling through Nick Cross's social media, and he had a tweet from back in 2018 when the Caps won the Stanley Cup about what it meant to him to see a championship come to D.C. Because in his life, he wasn't around for the Joe Gibbs glory days. Exactly. So, I mean, that's a true DMV young man coming back home. It's got to be cool for him, too.
I love it. And for his family and friends, people he played with here.
He's going to have to get a lot of tickets.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. You know it. So what happens from here? What more do we have to pick from?
There's probably still plenty to come. I still expect them to add help at the wide receiver position. Gotcha. They did lose Chris Rodriguez. Chris Rodriguez had been a running back with Washington for a few years now. He signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Probably going to add some help in that running back room. The big question is Brandon Ayuk of the San Francisco 49ers. Okay. Ayuk is a guy that's long been rumored with Washington, still technically under contract at San Francisco. We'll see. I don't think it's an if. We'll see when he gets released and what happens after that.
All right. It's exciting. JP, thanks so much. And you can catch JP break down all of the Commanders' free agency moves tonight on All Ears. That airs at 8:30 on the NBC Washington streaming channel. You can also watch it later tonight on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. That's going to do it for the News 4 Rundown. Thanks for having us in. Be sure to join us right back for News 4 at 11. Have a great night, everybody.